On the parched land, the ground cracked as if baked by the sun. Deep beneath the soil, a creature waited silently, the Pac-Man frog. It was not dead, just hibernating, a unique survival tactic for amphibians. When the first rains of the season fell, the sound of water droplets hitting the ground was a wake-up call. The frog stirred slightly, then began to break through the dry soil to rise to the surface. A large, mossy frog with round, alert eyes appeared in the mud. This was not just an awakening, but the beginning of a fierce hunting journey. With its stomach empty after weeks of sleep, the frog began to move, slowly but determinedly. It was looking for anything it could get into its mouth, from insects, reptiles, to animals larger than itself. The wet world after the rain was a feast, but also an unforgiving battlefield for survival. And Pac-Man the frog, the predator without teeth or claws, is about to enter a battle of instincts. Just as the Pac-Man frog began its journey, it encountered the most dangerous creature of all, the giant poisonous centipede. With its sinuous reddish-brown body and needle-like legs, the centipede is a nightmare for many species. One bite from it can bring a small buffalo to its knees with its powerful neurotoxin. But the frog showed no fear. It stood still, waiting and watching. This was not a confrontation of strength, but of reaction time and recklessness. As the centipede lunged, its legs hissing and its poisonous jaws opening, the frog suddenly counterattacked. It opened its mouth and swallowed the centipede's entire head, narrowly avoiding the dangerous bite. Once the head was in the frog's mouth, the rest was a useless reflex. The centipede struggled, but was swallowed whole within minutes. The battle was quick, clean, and merciless. Even when faced with the most venomous insect, Pac-Man frog maintains his composure, a fearless predator. In the mud after the rain, lurks a creature that is notoriously slippery, the loach. This fish has the ability to escape as fast as the wind. Its body is long and flexible like buttery noodles. But Pac-Man frogs are no novices. They have the ability to catch the wind, meaning they can predict the direction of the opponent's slithering extremely accurately. When the loach emerges from the mud, just one precise jump ends the chase. The frog uses its tongue to quickly sweep, almost invisible to the naked eye, to capture the fish. The loach tries to slither to escape the frog's jaws, but in just a few more seconds, it's all over. The battle between slippery and solid, between fast and accurate, has come to an end. The loach was once a master of escape, now a nutritious meal. This is a reminder. In the wild, the fastest is not always the last to survive, but someone who can predict and control the game from the first second. As he leaves the muddy swamp, Pac-Man continues his journey and encounters a truly formidable opponent, a snake. 5 times the size of a frog, the snake is venomous, fast, and agile. It slithers across the wet grass like a flying silk ribbon, fast, light, and deadly. Pac-Man cannot run, nor can he hide. There is only one option: fight. It takes a defensive stance, its eyes fixed on the snake's head, the most dangerous part. When the snake strikes, the frog dodges to the side and counterattacks with a precise opening of its mouth. The snake's head is held firmly. A risky move, but the only one that can finish off its opponent. The frog uses its legs to hold the struggling snake's body still, swallowing it bit by bit. The fight drags on. At times it seems like both will be exhausted. But in the end, bravery still wins. And so, the creature that seemed too big became prey, with its own recklessness and precision down to every breath. As dusk falls, creatures that lurk in the shadows begin to emerge, including a giant spider. With its axe-like teeth and 8 lanky legs, it moves with both agility and erraticity. Spiders are masters of stealth, constantly changing their positions, making their enemies dizzy. It can suddenly appear overhead, then disappear into the shadows of a tree in a split second. The Pac-Man frog looks bewildered, but not defeated. It sits still, as if surrendering, but actually waiting for an opportunity. When the spider approaches to strike, the frog suddenly springs up, opens its mouth, and captures its opponent in one motion. The air returns to silence. The hunter is hunted back by its own volition. In nature, there is no room for fascination, only instinct and opportunity. And this time, the opportunity belongs to the frog. In nature, the predators don't always have the upper hand. A Pac-Man frog is surrounded by a swarm of black scorpions, creatures known for their deadly weapons. Each one has large pincers that can snap insects, and a curved tail that contains a nerve-crippling venom. They circle around, moving in sync as if they have their own strategy, closing the circle. The frogs stay on the defensive, lowering their center of gravity, their eyes constantly darting around to keep an eye on each opponent. One misstep and a sting from their tail could be the end. But the Pac-Man frog doesn't panic. It chooses to attack quickly, targeting vulnerable individuals. A quick bite. A scorpion is swallowed before it can counterattack. The scorpions react, but not fast enough to block the next attack. One by one, they were eliminated. Not by brute force, but by strategy and reflexes. When the enemy is numerous and dangerous, composure becomes the ultimate weapon. And Pac-Man once again proves that sometimes character is more important than numbers. After mastering the land, Pac-Man frog enters a completely different environment, underwater. Here, a new enemy awaits, a giant catfish with a muscular body and razor-sharp fins. Catfish are a species that can slither quickly, change direction extremely flexibly, and have the ability to attack unexpectedly from all sides. With its larger size and superior speed, it seems to have no opponents in the pond environment. But Pac-Man frog does not falter because of that. It keeps a safe distance, carefully observing every move of the catfish. When the fish rushes, the frog does not dodge immediately, but waits for the right moment to counterattack. A jump, with just enough force, at just the right angle, helps it dodge to the side and grab the fish's head with its mouth. The force of the bite makes the fish unable to struggle. The frog takes advantage of the locking position, using its hind legs to hold the prey like clamps. In just a few minutes, the seemingly invulnerable creature became food. This battle showed that no matter the environment, the survival instinct, if sharp enough, can still bring the weaker party to victory. After a grueling hunt, the Pac-Man frog's body begins to slow down. It no longer searches for prey, but instead moves slowly through shallower, calmer waters. This is when the reproductive instinct kicks in, signaling an important stage in the life cycle. Male frogs begin to make deep, resonant calls to their mates. The calls echo far and wide like an invitation. In the humid swamp environment, a series of individuals mate at the same time and leave their eggs. The tiny night falls, the water surface is as calm as a mirror, and also a stage for silent assassins. This is a fish-eating species, not a fruit-eating species, and certainly not Batman. They use ultrasound to locate their prey, like a biological version of military radar. When they see a fish floating to breathe, the fish immediately dives down, its claws digging into the fresh water more than a fishing hook. A neat bite, not a drop of water splashed, a true ninja in disguise. The fish can also adjust its altitude by changing its wing beats. It sounds simple, but is more complicated than flying a small plane. They can eat dozens of fish every night, so you see that no one in nature sleeps on an empty stomach. Don't let their cute appearance fool you, because inside each fish is a super biological sensor. They play a role in maintaining ecological balance, reducing the number of sick and weak fish. running wild, chasing a mouse like playing a survival version of Tom and Jerry. The chase is as tense as a string. The mouse struggles, the monkey chases, everyone believes they will win. But no one notices. A mouth as big as a village well is waiting below. Plop! A lightning-fast bite from Pac-Man Frog, the one who doesn't say anything but always ends the game. The mouse hasn't had time to scream. The monkey hasn't had time to stop. Both of them suddenly become an instant combo for the frog. The scene makes everyone shocked. The predator has just paid for his karma right there. This story teaches us one thing. When concentrating on fighting, be careful of a third person opening his mouth. Pac-Man Frog is a master of ambush. No need to run, just wait and open his mouth wide. This species has no teeth, but whatever it bites sticks, thanks to the strong suction like a vacuum cleaner. Nature is very fair. Whoever is careless gets in the pot. On the beach at sunset, a group of crabs crawled across like shirtless strollers. They lifted their claws to show off their muscles, walking sideways with style, as if they were performing a crustacean fashion show. Crabs are not only strong, but also clean. They clean up beach trash, eat carrion, and bira cakes are their favorite. Don't laugh, bira cakes are nature's way of organic recycling. Crabs are unpaid, but extremely effective cleaners. They keep the beach odor-free and the sand loose, true to the beautiful good-doing standard. But don't think crabs are gentle. Their claws can snap an ice cream stick. They can fight, compete for mates, compete for territory. Very ordinary. However, that afternoon when the sun went down, the waves lapped. Something was different. A pair of round, big, and greedy eyes were lurking under the seaweed. Who would have thought that romantic afternoon would be the first chapter of a strangling disaster? The crab was enjoying the party and showing off its muscles when, boom! Pac-Man Frog flew out of nowhere like a big-bellied ninja. Even though it was crawling sideways, the crab still couldn't escape the lightning-fast bite of that toilet lid-like mouth. The crab's claws popped up. The frog was too fast. The bite only had time to shake the entire claw one last time. The frog's bite was so strong that it could swallow prey slightly larger than itself without chewing. The crab was swallowed whole like a candy. No one believed that the round, lazy thing was a real killer. Actually, Pac-Man frogs are just lazy to move, not lazy to eat. They are the type of creatures that sit still all day, but eat a meal and it's a feast. The crab was strong, but lost because it didn't expect the killer to be right under its nose. Nature doesn't need much action. Just the right time, the right place is enough to win. And so the sunset party ended with a swallow without chewing by Big Frog. At noon, the sun was so hot that a group of snakes wriggled on the rocks as if they were performing a wild catwalk. They showed off their shiny scales and graceful bodies as if they were competing for the Miss Reptile 2025 award. Snakes sunbathe not to show off their figure, but to absorb heat and digest food faster. However, snakes also know how to show off. They like to compare who is longer, who is more flexible. In fact, most snakes do not live a virtual life like that. They just gather to conveniently choose a mate. However, while they are busy showing off their figure, they forget that the sun also reveals their location to predators. In the nearby bushes, a round mouth like a manhole cover is gradually opening. Any beautiful snake will eventually become an appetizer if they are not vigilant. Once again, the natural lesson resounds. Whoever is slow for a second loses a life. It is okay to be beautiful. Don't forget, a beautiful person also needs to know how to look before and after. A hungry snake slithers along, its eyes glowing, a sign of elite predator. With its speed and venom, it can take down lizards, mice, and even baby birds in the blink of an eye. But today, it encounters a creature that seems stupid but turns out to be dangerous: the Pac-Man frog. The frog doesn't run, doesn't jump, just sits like a living rock. And that's the trap. When the snake approaches to attack, the frog springs up like a camouflaged spring, and snap, a sound. The round mouth grabs the snake like sucking noodles, except this time the noodles are wriggled to bite. The snake struggles, but it's too late. Just a moment's carelessness is enough to lose. In nature, the strong don't necessarily win, but the one who calculates carefully and waits for the right time is the king. The Pac-Man frog has no venom, no fangs, only patience and a wide mouth. It's true that the mouth can harm the body, but sometimes it can also save lunch. Loaches swim in the clear blue water like contemporary dancers. They wriggle and turn smoothly as if they have GPS in their heads. Loaches are also known as underwater ninjas because of their extremely flexible ability to wriggle. Not only are they fast, their bodies also secrete mucus to make them slippery like balm. They can come up to the surface to breathe, not only with their gills, but also with their skin and intestines. That helps them survive in temporary dry conditions, a true legendary longevity standard. Today, the loaches are dancing in the water as if they were filming a mineral water commercial. But hidden in the seaweed, a pair of eyes and a mouth are constantly watching. water, the loach today met a formidable opponent. Pac-Man frog is not a good swimmer, not fast, but has more important things: patience and a big mouth. When the loach swam past for the third time, the frog had calculated the angle and suction force precisely. The mouth opened, sucking in like a large vacuum cleaner. The loach did not have time to turn its head. The loach's agility became meaningless when its opponent was a light-speed biter. The loach struggled hard, but the slime that helped it swim now made it difficult to escape the frog's throat. It was natural. Anyone who was careless, even for 0.1 seconds, would become dinner. Speed is an advantage, but don't forget to be vigilant and change tactics. Although the frog is slow, when attacking, it always uses the right person, the right time, the right bite. And so, a beautiful escape turned into the main course in a frog's stomach. The giant spider hid behind the stone slab, its 8 legs positioned perfectly, as if it were playing a deadly game of Go. It spun a web in its head, without the need for a real web, for this was a spider that hunted without webs. Its reflexes were so fast that it could catch its prey in a split second. The spider charged forward, confident that a stormy attack would finish off its opponent. The attack was countered by the spider. This time, it was sashimi without thorns. Nature always has surprises. Those who think they are assassins are sometimes just appetizers. The title of eight-legged killer is now a thing of the past when the spider is swallowed whole by the hungry frog. Although it looks fierce, the spider misjudges its enemy, a fatal mistake. Frogs do not need poison, do not need silk, just wait for the right moment and snap their bodies like springs. The frog's bite is painless, but the end is incredibly quick and clean. Before the spider can make a move, it has already disappeared into the darkness of the frog's internal organs. Overconfidence is what traps many predators. Natural education teaches, do not underestimate those who sit still and do not move. Frogs may look like forgotten dumplings, but try to get close. That is why the quietest person is sometimes the scariest. In the forest, every meal is a lesson, and those who learn slowly will end up in someone else's stomach. taking place in a clearing in the middle of the forest. Pac-Man frog, black scorpion, and long-tailed lizard. 3 creatures, 3 styles. One is tough, one is poisonous, and one is fast as the wind. The scorpion raises its claws, threatening. The lizard puffs up its body, running around. And the frog stays still. It seems that the frog is doing nothing, but it is measuring the distance and calculating the wind direction. The scorpion attacks first, but misses. Its claw hits the afternoon wind. The lizard takes the opportunity to bite quickly, but misses because it is stuck in the sand. The frog, still patient, waits for both to tire, then takes a bite to take down each one. Nature does not prioritize strength or speed, but strategy and timing. The battle ends with the frog's belly full. The martial arts convention has only one winner. A great lesson. The quiet one is sometimes the one who speaks last, with a burp.